With 12 goals and 1 assist in 9 games this season, Erling Haaland has been truly incredible. So much so that in this video I wanted to take a look at whether Pep Guardiola's team have essentially turned into a one-man team based around the Norwegian striker. Watching Manchester City against Brentford on Sunday, I was struck by obviously how good Haaland was, but also how lifeless and dull Manchester City's other players were on the pitch. This came just a few days after Manchester City conceded a late goal to Monaco in the Champions League, where Haaland had once again provided the only goals for his team, and then came out after the match and labelled his team's performance as not good enough. And it's certainly not hard to see why Haaland would be deeply frustrated by the way Manchester City have played so far this season. After all, the Norwegian striker's 10 goal contributions in the Premier League make up 67% of the total goals scored by Man City in the league. Only Jadon Anthony at Burnley and Bournemouth forward Antoine Semenyo have a higher share of their team's total goals. If we want to take another look at the way that Haaland dominates this Man City side, we can actually take a look at the XG makeup of Guardiola's team and how that actually compares to Liverpool and Arsenal so far in the Premier League this season. As we can see, while Haaland makes up a massive 65% of Man City's total XG in the league, the highest at Liverpool is Hugo Ekitike with just 21%, and at Arsenal it's Victor Gyökeres on 23%. Now, of course, Haaland is a world-class striker and far more proven goal scorer in the Premier League than Ekitike or Gyökeres, but I think his goals mask some real problems at Manchester City this season. And when we dive into even more stats, we can see where Guardiola's team have been faltering over the course of the last few months. A good place to start would be in defence, where admittedly Guardiola's team have kept clean sheets against the likes of Wolves, Man United, a 10-man Napoli, and of course Brentford at the weekend there. But in their 5 other games have conceded 8 goals. In midfield, Guardiola's team desperately miss Rodri and have completely abandoned the high press that was brought them so much success over the last 8 seasons, with West Ham being the only team in the Premier League that actually press opposing teams less than Man City this season. But it's perhaps back in attack where Pep Guardiola's team used to have outstanding playmakers like Kevin De Bruyne and Ilkay Gundogan to call on, but now really rely on a very ageing Bernardo Silva and undoubtedly an out-of-form Phil Foden, and it shows. And when we bring this all back to Haaland and that lack of service that he actually gets per game, we can see in this graph that despite his superhuman non-penalty goals per 90 record still being truly world-class, he actually receives fewer passes per game than most of the strikers in the league. Of course, Man City do still have to welcome back Omar Marmoush from injury, and they've also got new signings like Ryan Cherki and Tijani Reinders to step in and hopefully become senior players in Guardiola's attack. But as things stand, Man City just look like a very average team with a world-class striker up front. And if they didn't have a player like Haaland up front who can not only make the most of very few chances, but in many ways create goals out of almost nothing like we saw against Brentford, then I think Guardiola's team would be in a lot more trouble this season. In many ways, no squad is ever really a one-man team. It's a ridiculous notion in a team sport, but right now, the way that Manchester City are playing and the way that Erling Haaland is playing would suggest is that they are as close as you could really get at this level of football to being exactly that. And in many ways, they should be very thankful of the fact that Haaland is still scoring goals and in many ways dragging them through these football matches.